Arsenal have ended 2024 with a win, as Kai Havertz scored a first-half winner to make it 3 wins in a row. Let's just say this game was far from simple. So from a new role for Kai Havertz to Arsenal's creative dilemma, why our brand new fullback pairing is thriving, and the breaking news that completely changes our season. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learned from Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and 3 points to end 2024. Not the best performance, but still so much to break down. So as per, smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with the first thing, control dominance. On a day with the Emirates were singing 1-0 to the Arsenal, as Arsenal kept their 7th clean sheet of the season, having now conceded only 16 goals, the least in the league. We have kept 4 successive home clean sheets for the first time since December 2021. And in the year 2024, that's now 23 clean sheets in 50 appearances for David Raya, the most an Arsenal keeper has ever kept. And it all goes back to a very simple saying: you cannot concede if you don't give away the ball. So as Arsenal kept 84% possession in the first half, we limited Ipswich to no shots on goal and a 0.00 XG. In the game itself, Ipswich only had 1 shot on target, as Arsenal ended the game with 67% possession, 70 final third entries, and a 3.6 expected threat created. Ipswich a minus 0.2. Out of possession, Arsenal were actually very good, and that's where we got our control. And in terms of how Arsenal got that control, it was all because of our out of possession work. Fantastic in terms of counter pressing, jumping onto any Ipswich player as soon as we gave away the ball, with a very key performance from Declan Rice, dropping a 7.6 rating as the anchoring 6, with 61 passes completed, 1 key pass and 1 big chance created. It was 5 of 3 ground balls won, 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions and 2 tackles. When it comes to eating up ground and closing players down, Rice is one of the best in the business. One of the reasons why Mikel Arteta spent £105 million on him is because in terms of raw physical ability, defensive know-how and counter-pressing, Rice has got potential to become the best in the world. The game for Arsenal became very simple: keep the ball as much as possible and try to suffocate the opposition. But that's where we found an issue: too slow in possession out of the back, safe pass after safe pass. Ask yourself the question: despite having so much of the ball, how much did we actually do with it? Creating only 2 big chances all game, 1 in the first and 1 in the second. Low blocks are not easy to play against. But the issue for Arsenal is we give teams time to organise, where Liverpool are devastating on the counter-attack, able to hurt teams at a very fast pace, not give them time to get into shape. Teams do set up defensive against Arsenal, but sometimes it's because we allow it. We force teams into a low block, give time for them to organise, because of how slow and pedestrian we are, with a real lack of directness. An issue that Arsenal have is a lack of ball carrier. Despite having the quality of Declan Rice, Jurriën Timber and Miles Lewis-Kelly, all players are able to pick up the ball and burst into midfield. It feels like a lack of instruction, limiting invention and keeping it safe. There is no denying that Arsenal's control does win games, but when you think about what we're up against, a Liverpool side that's looking unstoppable, with X-factor players like Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. You take up Bukayo Saka from his Arsenal side. Yes, we have so much of the ball. We don't concede many chances, but is our chance creation sustainable? In games like this, it certainly isn't exciting. It's not about being overcritical, it's more about looking at the past games that Arsenal have struggled in. Everton, Fulham, teams that play defensively. What new questions are we asking these teams? Can Mikel Arteta introduce more directness into our play? Moving on to the second thing, Kai's new role. Having dropped a 7.5 rating and scored 1 goal, with 71 touches and 53 accurate passes. On paper, he started as a left number 8, but looking at his heat map, he was playing more across the pitch, with even more emphasis on the right hand side. Mikel Arteta once again opting for a diamond formation. As Havertz said after the game, I like to play different roles. For me, it's fun wherever I play. I try to help the team every match. With now 10 goal contributions in 11 games at the Emirates this season, Cobra Kai loves a strike at the Emirates. But more importantly, in terms of his new role, playing as a secondary striker, there's a lot of potential to maximise his strengths. The prime example, of course, being his goal. Having seen him thrive at Bayer Leverkusen, playing more as a number 10 arriving into the box, when you then look into his goal itself, with Jesus occupying the centre backs, Havertz's instincts allow him to arrive into the box at the right time, maximising his movement to score another goal. In games like this, it makes a lot of sense. We always knew Ipswich weren't going to be progressive, with the need for more attackers than defensive midfielders. Having seen us struggle against Fulham earlier this season, playing 3 defensive midfielders in Rice, Jorginho and Partey, with a more attacking player in Havertz, Arsenal will naturally have more goal threat, scoring the winner in this game and earning Arsenal a vital 3 points. That's now 12 goals in 25 club appearances this season, only 2 goals behind his entire tally from last season. With half a year left to play, Havertz is on course for a 20-goal season, having now scored 21 goals in 2024, Arsenal's highest goal scorer in the calendar year. He is only behind Mo Salah and Erling Haaland for most goals scored of any Premier League player in all competitions this season. This new role for Havertz for me is going to be his future. While able to play as a centre forward, It's no secret that Arsenal are on the market for a new striker, trying to improve upon Gabriel Jesus. It's less about replacing Kai Havertz and more about accommodating him, finding a partner they can combine with, while also being a very versatile option, able to drop into midfield and help defensively, but also allow Arsenal to throw balls into the box, because his movement is very good instinctively. But what about the Arsenal creativity? Having now gone 11 games unbeaten since the return of Martin Odegaard, making an XG of 2.16 in this game, limiting Ipswich to only 0.15, Odegaard himself dropped a 7.4 rating, with 92 touches and 61 accurate passes, 2 key passes as well. I won't lie, in the first half he was definitely poor, with poor touches in the final third, loose in terms of possession. It showed to me that when he plays higher up the pitch, for some reason Odegaard naturally struggles, but in the second half he was definitely better, with a lot of it coming down to him dropping deeper, picking up the ball in different parts of the pitch, allowing him to come into the game instead. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Martin Odegaard is not a natural number 10, but more as a number 8. A player more about controlling tempo than it is to control our attack. Think less of Kevin De Bruyne and think more of David Silva. One thing that was very noticeable in this game, in the second half where Odegaard tried to grow, at times he was drifting more to the left hand side, where his passing became far more vertical and far more dangerous. And for an Arsenal attack, the more we see that, the more I ask the question. Whenever we see Odegaard drift towards the left, he does seem more dangerous. You think back to the end of last season, that quality pass to Kai Havertz to find him against Chelsea, on the left hand side firing balls in behind. The angle seems to suit him better. Having seen Mikel Arteta move so many Arsenal players around, Saka from left wing to right wing being the main example, in games where Arsenal need more creativity, why not try Odegaard on the left? Try Ethan Nwaneri alongside him, especially in games where Arsenal have so much possession. We always talk about new strikers and Arsenal definitely need one, but sometimes I feel our bigger issue is more creativity. While Arsenal do create chances, and in terms of XG are always up there, when you compare us to the teams that won the titles in the past, Liverpool and Man City, they seem to have more X factor. Players that can find you a moment even in games they're struggling in. Whereas for Arsenal at times, it feels like things need to be perfect if we are to go and win the game. Talk to me down below in the comments. How do you think we can solve our lack of creativity? Moving on to the third thing, lack of firepower. In our first game without the injured Bukayo Saka, it was time for the other Arsenal players to step up. Havertz certainly did so, but in terms of Gabriel Jesus dropping a 6.7 rating, he was unable to produce a single shot all game. Once again, I'm looking less at the player and more on our system. When you've got a centre forward who's clearly in good form, how many chances did we create for him? You then look at the left hand side of Leandro Trossard, dropping a 7.7 rating, assisting the only Arsenal goal, with 1 dribble, 2 key passes and 2 big chances created. Creativity wise, he was our most promising player, but in terms of taking his man on and actually beating it, Trossard is not as reliable at it. Hence why Arsenal are looking for a left winger on the market that is unstoppable 1v1. On the right hand side, we've got Bukayo Saka consistently beating his fullback. The left hand side can be very hit and miss. We then turn to Gabriel Martinelli playing on the right hand side, dropping a 6.5 rating with 0 out of 4 dribbles. I will say at sometimes, he really struggled up against his fullback. Despite of that, he was still able to get in good crosses, to which I'm looking to the Arsenal players in the middle to get themselves on the end of it. But instead of picking on individual players, let's talk about the bigger picture. In a game that we had no Raheem Sterling and no Bukayo Saka, it looked to the Arsenal bench was very worrying. With 4 left backs, 3 defensive midfielders and a 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, we essentially only had 1 attacking option off the bench. A real concern if you're going for a title and trying to win multiple trophies. Mikel Arteta has already talked about Arsenal having one of the thinnest squads in the league, but for me it shows the imbalance in our investments. You look at defensively, even without Tomiyasu and Ben White, Arsenal still have so much depth in fullbacks. Even in terms of midfield, without Declan Rice or Thomas Partey, we can turn to Jorginho. But when you think about our attack with only 2 players missing, we end up with next to no options off the bench. It shows a real lack of attacking investment. That's why when you look into this Arsenal side, of course they're great out of possession, because that's where the money's been going. But at one point as a squad, you need to have more attacking quality. Things that can't be coached and needs to be bought. The January window is now around the corner. We've got some worrying news on Bukayo Saka. For Arsenal, there has to be an incentive. If this is the year that you go and win a title, you're looking at your previous year's competition in Man City, struggle game after game. Surely you don't need any more incentive to give this project the attackers it deserves, as soon as possible. Moving on to the fourth thing, the perfect fullbacks. In a game where the Arsenal attack wasn't amazing, the fullbacks definitely were. As Jurrien Timber dropped an 8.0 rating, the highest of any Arsenal player, with 1 clearance, 2 interceptions and 4 tackles, 8 of 10 ground balls won, while also completing 93% of his passes. For me, I can only stand and applaud. A player that's come off an ACL injury that essentially ruled him out for an entire season, to be this consistent and this available, put in consistently strong performances, lock up any winger that he comes up against. Having signed for only 40 million euros, game after game, Jurrien Timber is looking like a bargain. Still only 23 years of age with so much potential of becoming a complete fullback. In a game that also needed ball carriers, at times Timber was stepping up. The example being in the first half when he burst into midfield, spotting a gap and running through it. Just think about the energy it produced. Fans naturally got more excited, and the stadium was definitely lifted. But talking of fullbacks, let's talk about Miles Lewis-Skelly. A flawless 7.9 rating, with 2 clearances, 3 tackles and 0 times dribbled past. 8 of 9 ground balls won. 98% of his passes completed, alongside 2 key passes and 2 out of 3 dribbles. As Mikel Arteta said after the game, he is well ahead of his age. I don't think I've seen an 18-year-old player be this physically ready, entering the best defence in the Premier League, yet not looking a single bit out of place. The way that he uses his body to bounce players off him, it reminds me a bit of Moussa Dembele at Spurs. As strong as an ox, even in terms of his passing, he always tries to be progressive, which makes his 98% pass completion that much more impressive. In this game, Arsenal had Ricardo Calafrio on the bench. Mikel Arteta's big money left back signing in the summer. Fit, available but not used, because Miles Lewis-Skelly has earned his place. Stepping up when Arsenal needed him, it is now his place to lose. On one side you've got the thriving Urian Timber, and on the left hand side you've got Timber 2.0. In Lewis-Skelly and Timber, not only are Arsenal defensively secure, but when it comes to progressing out of deep, in a team that needs more ball carriers, their profiles become that much more perfect. Moving on to the 5th thing, control wins games. There's no denying this was not an amazing performance, but we are now 11 games unbeaten in all competitions, 8 wins and 3 draws. It was not a sparkling end to 2024, but there's no denying in 2024 Arsenal have been consistent, ending the calendar year having played 36 games, accumulating the most points, the most wins, the least amount of losses, most goals scored, least conceded, and the most clean sheets. Having now scored more goals in 2024 than any other Arsenal side post-2000. It's quite amazing when you think about it, because at times it can be so frustrating. A lack of invention, not as exciting to watch, over-reliant on set pieces. Yet at times Arsenal are able to cash in, smashing 5 goals plus in teams that come onto them, blow them out of the water. Compared to 2023, Arsenal have definitely improved, with more points in less games, more goals scored, and far less goals conceded. 49 in 2023 to 25 in 2024. But in terms of the table that actually matters, Liverpool remain first. Arsenal moving to second over Chelsea, but still 6 points off the pace, with Liverpool still having a game in hand. Having smashed Leicester 3-1, they are the team that lead the race and they have their style of play. It's far more direct than Arsenal, and it's more about individual brilliance. But if able to win our next 2 games, that puts Arsenal at 92 points over 38 games, the equivalent of a season. Over that level of sample size, those numbers are undeniable, but fans still want more, and there's a reason behind. Having been so patient and trusted so much, 2025 is the year for trophies, getting yourself over the line, and it's not going to help when you've got the breaking news of Bukayo Saka. As Mikel Arteta confirmed, he will be out for many weeks, probably more than 2 months. He has now undergone surgery, and now it depends on how the scar tissue starts to heal, and the mobility of that. With rumours of his hamstring injury being worse than expected, the issue with that specific muscle, some players do struggle to recover from it, the prime example being Reece James at Chelsea. On the positive side, Mikel Arteta does expect Raheem Sterling to return sooner than expected, and as Havertz says in Bukayo's absence, everyone has to step up. But with games coming thick and fast, an extremely packed January. Yes, in 2024 Arsenal have kept 18 clean sheets, the most of any side, but that's because we've invested so much in defence. Now it's time to show that same level of ambition in our attack. This January window is going to be decisive. Where in previous years Arsenal have been close, currently 6 points behind a side that isn't Man City, there's even more pressure on Arsenal to get themselves over the line. With more and more fans demanding an attacker, and Arsenal's need growing, according to The Athletic, we are monitoring the in-form Matheus Cunha of Wolves, a forward who could be available if Wolves are relegated to the Championship. Having scored 10 goals so far this season, with his heat map showing that he's thrived on the left-hand side. Talk to me down below in the comments in terms of our attacking priority. Is it a brand new left winger, or is it going to be a centre forward? Next up for Arsenal is our first game in 2025. Brentford away on New Year's Day, followed by Brighton away on the Saturday. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was the 5 things you learned from Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. It wasn't outstanding, but it was a win. It was 3 points and a clean sheet. So you know what, I'm not going to complain. We're going to look forwards and hopefully Arsenal are going to make moves this January. As per my friends, thank you for watching the 5 things I learned of 2024. I'm going to see you in 2025. Take care, in a bit.